we've talked a little bit today, and by the way, we'll get to some Sooner football in the next segment. We've talked a lot today about UK and West Virginia. We'll get to some of those other games, including the Xavier-Arizona game. What's that guy's name again?
Stainbrook.
We got to talk about Mr. Stainbrook, the big man for Xavier, and just how he has opened up our eyes to maybe what could be a brand new game for us. We'll get to that in just a little bit. But Andrew Gilman joins us now on the Little Caesars Hot and Ready Hotline. We'll talk some Thunder, and we may be able to fit in a little college basketball with him too.
Have you ever seen anyone that looks more like a Stainbrook than that guy? I mean, he looks like it, doesn't
That's kind of our game. Like
Oh, I got one for you then.
Well, we were saying other
guys that match their names?
Not really, although that's another good one. Players, people in sports who look like they'd be Uber drivers.
Oh, that's a good one.
Because there was a whole thing, for those of you who didn't watch last night, there was a whole little mini segment during the broadcast about how Stainbrook has given up his scholarship to his little brother, who is also on the team, because his little brother's education costs 3 times as much because of the field he is in. And so
I see.
And so he hit to make money on the side.
He drove Uber.
This Stainbrook is an Uber driver. So anyway.
Oh, I thought you were going to play who looks exactly like their name. And there's no the winner going in and the winner at the end of the game is Doris Burke. There's no one that looks more like a Doris Burke than Doris Burke.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's going to take – see, that's so tough because the catalog's so long. We got it. I mean, because now you've added everyone in sports there, and I'm going to have to think about it.
Right, like if Fat Lever were fat, that'd be easy, but he wasn't really.
Right. Well, that's no good then. That's a terrible answer.
I know.
Wait a minute. I got one.
Okay.
Raleigh Fingers.
Raleigh Fingers looks like Raleigh Fingers. However, you don't know it until you see it. It's like good art. You know, when you see it, and you're like, okay, that's really good. But when you see Ed Malloy reffing a basketball game, you're like, that's totally Ed Malloy. I mean, there's no other guy that looks more like an Ed Malloy than him.
He is the most robotic official I've ever seen in my life.
He's the best Ed Malloy that ever Ed Malloyed.
Yeah,
and Royce Young said the other day, how long do you think Ed Malloy brushes his teeth each day? An hour, 2? I mean, he looks like that kind of guy.
That's true.
You know?
No doubt about it.
I bet he takes a shower with his shirt tucked in. I mean, that dude, pleated pants, tucked in shirt everywhere.
He reads one chapter out of his 20-year-old Britannica encyclopedia every day.
Each night right before bed. That's exactly right. Yeah. Well, this is good radio, guys.
I think we've broken the internet.
He uses Consort hairspray every day when he gets ready.
Club man.
That's right.
I think this is actually better radio than everything else we do.
Well,
so that's fine by me.
I'd like to think so. I mean, this is my favorite 10 minutes of the week, honestly. I'm just disappointed I
are you such a liar?
On Monday and Wednesday.
I can guarantee you, though,
that
no other radio show in the history of radio has brought up the names Ed Malloy, Matt Stainbrook, and Fat Lever within a 5-minute.
Yep. And you get if you hit for the cycle, if you also name Doris Burke.
Doris Burke, that's right.
That's a good day.
Earlier, Todd brought out a Serge. What was his last name?
Serge Zwicker.
Zwicker, yeah, that's right. Serge Zwicker earlier. It was. I mean, we've batted around and we're back to the top of the order. Andrew Gilman with us on 107.7 The Franchise. How much did that Thunder blowout kind of open your eyes to reality?
Oh, not much. I mean, yeah, I guess. I mean, they're not going to beat San Antonio if they don't defend. Is that what you're saying? Well, sure. But I don't know that game changes much at all. I mean, they ended up not losing any ground. They're either 8th or out. So, I mean, nothing really changed that much in that game. They need help to beat San Antonio.
Well,
yes, that's accurate.
I think I probably didn't phrase. I phrased the question poorly.
Yes, you did.
Did you? How much did your opinion change about just how far, if at all, about just how far the Thunder can advance?
Now that's a better question. Well played. Yes, it goes to show that they need either Ibaka or Durant or somebody to step in front of someone from time to time, and they did none of those. And none of those things happened on Wednesday night. So, they have a long ways to go defensively, but we sort of knew that ahead of time. But that really was an eye opener in that regard, because Scott Brooks, his go-to line is that they're a defensive team, and he either needs to stop saying it. That would be one thing, or get better, one of the two. And it looks to me that he should probably just focus in on the first part of that instead of the second.
the Thunder have lost 6 of their last 7 now on the road. And in those 6 games, they've given up 130, 119, 120, 108, 115, 117. Yeah. Is there cause for concern not just on lack of defense, but how this team's playing on the road? I mean, I hate to remind people this, but as an 8 seed, you have to go on the road more than you're at home in the playoffs. Should we be concerned about that?
Is that a new thing this year in the NBA?
I think Adam Silver brought that in.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good point. However, they've only lost twice since Christmas at home. So you don't have to be great on the road, not when they're as good as they are at home. And so, I mean, I guess you could argue just got to figure out a way to win one of them. Just win one on the road. And a lot of times that first game in the series, particularly against a 1 seed in this case, you might be able to steal one in there. Now, that doesn't mean Golden State can't come in here and win a couple because they've done that already. They've already won here in Oklahoma City. But I think all bets are off on this team. We just don't know what they are because they're not complete. And they've played a lot better without Kevin Durant of late at home. But they're not going anywhere in the long run without at least one other player, being Ibaka or Durant.
Did you see the Andrew Gilman with us on 107.7 The Franchise? Did you see the rankings, the ESPN rankings for front office and head coach and all those?
Yeah, was it like 13th for the Thunder?
13th for the Thunder front office, and it's by the way, just to let people know who haven't heard about this, ESPN has a panel of 200 basketball guys. Okay, and it's pretty complete. They rated every franchise 1 to 30 on best front offices in the league, and the Thunder fell from 8 last year at this time to 13th this year. And then also they ranked the head coaches. Did you see that?
I did not see that.
Do you want to take a gander? Do you want to take a guess at what?
I'd say mid-20s is where they're going to put him.
They put him at 20.
Okay. That was close.
How much? First thought on that?
Well, I think the coaching thing is off. I think Scott Brooks doesn't get enough credit for mixing and matching, particularly this year, because he's never had a consistent lineup. I mean, the other day they had Singler, McGarry, Novak on the floor at the same time, and this team is still 8th in the playoffs. Maybe that goes to show you how good Westbrook is. But the idea of the intangible stuff that we don't get to see is how to keep everyone sort of afloat and happy and all that stuff. And it's probably a credit to the Thunder front office and their way of doing things that we don't hear any sort of back talk. We don't hear guys complaining. We don't hear of that stuff. And if it's happening, we don't know about it. But the fact that Scott Brooks has avoided all those things, I think he deserves a lot of credit for. Now, is he a great game manager? Well, I don't know. Probably not. I mean, he was asking the other day if there's a 21-point shot available. So I know he was making a point, but he doesn't seem to capture the fancy of basketball enthusiasts when you catch him on Wired Up or Mic'd Up or whatever they call it.
Adam Silver also going to be instituting the 21-point shot here pretty soon.
I was going to say, they needed a 30-point shot by the end. The 21-point shot wouldn't have even helped.
I think at one point they needed a 44-point shot.
Oh, my gosh. What about front office? They had front office at 13th.
Well, I mean, it seems to me that is a little too low. I mean, it should be better than 13, low or high. I don't know the correct terminology there. But they've made a bunch of trades. Dion Waiters seems engaged. Enes Kanter seems to have worked out really well. I mean, beyond really well. They've made a bunch of moves over the last couple of years, and they haven't stood pat. And they've been in the Western Conference Finals, 3 of the last 4 years, whatever it is. If it's just this year, it's hard to discredit what they've done because they've stayed afloat with seemingly nothing. They got rid of a malcontent. They brought in better players. So, I mean, I don't know what they're looking for in that regard. Yeah. I mean, are they willing to go spend to get James Harden? No, but beyond that.
And by the way, my thing with Brooks too, and I know I have become somewhat of it sounds as though I've become somewhat of a Brooks homer. It's just that it's just easy to defend him, so I'm taking the easy way out. And this is another one. Is that all I hear from everyone is that, well, of course Scott Brooks should do well. He's got 2 of the top 5 players in the NBA. Not this year.
Yeah, that's right.
Not this year.
Well, I think sometimes when you have all that talent, Phil Jackson gets a lot of that same criticism that you're talking about, or Pat Riley or somebody like that. But you have to keep everyone happy, and I think that's underrated how hard that is to do.
I agree. I don't know if I've told this story on air, but I got to talk to Tony La Russa once, and I was asking him all these questions about on the field, how important it is on the field, and pitching changes and all this stuff. And what do you think your most important job is? He goes, we've talked for 30 minutes, and you haven't said anything near about what my most important job is. He's like, I see these guys every day for 9 months.
Yeah,
and
they
all live in the same house for 9 months, and they all live in the same tube, 33,000 feet in the air for 9 months. That's what I've got a massage right there.
And you know what? That's a great point, and it's no different in basketball. Does the baseball manager matter? Sure. La Russa probably gets you, let's say he's at the top of the list, 6 to 8 wins a year, maybe. Just by what he does. Maybe 6. Is Scott Brooks getting you 6 to 8 wins or 3 wins a year, 2 wins a year, maybe somewhere in that regard? But the idea that they're going over and talking about how to get through play after play after play in a huddle during the game, I don't think that's where his value is. I think his value comes in practice, on the plane, in the locker room, where he says, this is what we have to be. And to take 2 alpha males, 2 of the top 5 players in the league, there's no bigger alpha male than Russell Westbrook, and to coexist with Kevin Durant, I can't imagine that's easy to do.
Right after that interview, by the way, Tony La Russa made a pointless pitching change. I believe right after the interview was over with Zach McCrite.
Twice.
Yes, and he took his time on it too.
Exactly.
All right, Todd, are you ready to go?
Wait, hang on a second. I got a question.
Oh, okay. Andrew Gilman, everybody. You have the floor, sir.
Do you have your Louisville colored glasses on tonight and your foam finger?
No.
You're a homer for Louisville.
No.
I believe you are.
No, not at all. I'm an Indiana.
He's an IU guy.
I'm an Indiana guy.
How'd they do, Zach? When do they play tonight?
Yeah.
By the way, you didn't even ask me any college basketball.
Well, go ahead. I'm sure you'll tell us.
Well, I'm so sorry for taking up your time on the radio.
No, not at all.
Am I a burden on you right
Absolutely
now?
not. Absolutely not. Go ahead.
I
am excited for your college basketball coverage.
Do you fancy me to be a homer for any particular team that you've known of that we've ever talked about?
Well, in college basketball, I mean, you're a Sooner homer, let's be honest. But other than that, no.
Come on now. I went to KU. Why would I be a Sooner homer?
Oh, my fault. You're a Kansas homer. Go ahead.
I think OU rolls them tonight. I think they win easy.
Get out of here. Really?
Okay. I'm just saying.
Why?
Yeah.
You see, I told you, Sooner homer. Why?
I think Buddy Hield hadn't played a good game yet. And they haven't looked great in these 2 wins, and they played a road game.
So he's going to do it against Tom Izzo's team.
Well, I understand that Tom Izzo is quality, and his team's played great in March, and they're doing it again this year. But this team's lost 10 or 11 games. They're not unstoppable. They're not great on the inside. I don't think that. I think if OU makes a couple shots early, I think they could really roll them. I would take the points with OU tonight.
Hey, Andrew.
Yes.
How are your Jayhawks doing?
Good one, Todd. I don't know how I'm going to recover from that.
I don't either.
Todd is an international superstar.
Oh,
He's
wait a
well
minute.
versed in
Where's
Italian
the edited
cuisine,
version?
Asian-made vehicles, and European soccer. Excuse me, football. But management frowns upon Todd's soccer talk. Screw it. Let's sneak in some real quick. Here's 10 seconds of soccer
With Andrew.
with Todd Lisenbee. Starting now.
Energy FC opens their season tomorrow night in Tulsa against the Tulsa Roughnecks.
Wow.
There is only one true sports soccer franchise in Oklahoma. It's Energy FC. Go Energy!
And that was
a
10
minute.
seconds of soccer.
I didn't hear Andrew's name in there.
What? Where?
Thanks a lot, guys. I really, really enjoyed it today. It
Wow.
was wonderful.
I can't believe you just did that to Andrew.
Well, I thought
Good
Andrew,
radio.
I mean, we didn't ask him about college basketball. He just talked about it. I figured he'd just talk about soccer, too.
I can't talk over you. You dominate this. You boxed me out.
Oh,
I did-
God.
I did box
you
you out.
totally played defense
And
on
listen,
Andrew.
it's an international weekend. There's nothing going on in the Premier
That's the
League.
first time you've ever played defense, Todd. That's
It
the first
is.
time you've ever done it.
And probably the last.
See you later, Andrew.
See you guys. Bye.